At this time, I would call the board meeting to order, and if you will stand with me for our invocation. Thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to be here tonight, to come before you to ask your wisdom and guidance to work with the students of Brunswick County Schools. And Lord, as we go through this week, we ask also that you place your healing hand upon the Maltsby family. They are part of our school community and have been for many years, and they have suffered a recent loss. So we ask that you just give them comfort during this time. And we pray that you will give us the wisdom and guidance to make all the decisions that will be best for Brunswick County Schools. For we ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, do I have a motion for approval of the minutes of prior meetings? Okay, Mr. Benton has made the motion. Do I have a second? And Mr. Miller has seconded. All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. Next, we have consent items for approval. We have Coastal Horizons Day Treatment Program. We have Developmental Daycare Day Center contracts, and we have HVAC repairs contracts. We have the 2020-2021 budget resolution, and we have the budget attachments. Do I have a motion? Okay, so Mr. Miller has motion, Mr. Lemon has seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'm sorry. We need to go back and have approval of the agenda before we
Thank
proceed,
you.
because there was an amendment I wanted to make.
I
Sorry.
apologize. I apologize for that. So do I have a motion for approval of the meeting agenda?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make an amendment. I don't know if I can, since we've already voted on the, but I would like to see if we could move the number 4 budget resolution to action item versus a consent to have discussion.
Okay, so that would be the 2021 budget resolution.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I believe we can amend that to include a discussion. All in favor of amendment? Everyone in agreement with an amendment to go back and look at that?
She made a motion.
Okay.
I second.
Okay, the second, and all in favor? Aye. Okay, so, Ms. Cook, what was, we want to discuss? Is there a particular point within the budget you'd
We
like?
have a,
So we're going to move number 4 to number 3 on action items?
yes,
Okay.
so we can go with the action.
Okay. Discussion?
Ms. Cahill, do we have the budget resolution, do we have a copy of the? I was trying to find the section with the teacher supplements.
Local?
Local.
Okay.
I apologize, I can't see from that.
That's okay.
Freya, will you tell me when we get to it?
Okay,
You don't see the level of detail there,
right,
but the local supplements are paid from the local current expense fund.
okay. Do you know how much was set aside for the teachers, or was that, originally we talked about $1,000 for the supplement, but because of the budget and everything going on, we,
1.7 million, I believe.
where that,
This resolution does not include an increase in the local supplement schedule.
okay, so it doesn't include anything,
Well, a step increase,
right, but not an individual
supplement.
dollar amount supplement.
correct.
Well, at the last committee meeting, we had discussed the possibility of some type of supplement increase, even if it couldn't be the 1,000 that we had originally hoped for. And I believe the number 500 came about. And I am still in favor of that. Any discussion on
A
who?
one-time $500
Well,
increase for this year, or an ongoing?
it would belong with the supplements. Is that correct, Ms. Cahill? So it would be recurring in terms of their supplement.
I would be in favor of doing it for this year and see where we are later in the year for next year. I'm just concerned with COVID and reopening, what expenses might come up and how long this is going to be in the future. That's just my only concern. I mean, I agree we should increase the supplement. I'd rather do it as a one-time bonus and then revisit it.
I thought we were going to wait till sales tax and all of our figures came in.
Kind of off of last year's budget, the information that we had last year. On the local side, we're working off of last year's numbers. Yeah, we are benefiting from the revenues of last year. Next year is when we're going to see potentially
I missed that discussion in the last meeting. Review again how, if that was discussed about $500, how that would be paid for.
Okay, let me get my sheet.
This microphone is.
I believe it was asked as a
Your
question by
microphone.
Dr. Rhodes, as something around, that was the only time it was discussed, right?
It doesn't, there were several scenarios, one of which was to do $500 permanently, recurring to the supplement schedule for certified staff, and that would cost $691,000 recurring. Then there was a talk about a $150 bonus for, again, certified, to add to the $350 that the state is providing in October, and that is a cost of $172,000.
What would it cost if we just did 500 to across the board on all of our classified and certified together for this year?
One-time cost of $909,000.
Yeah.
909.
$909.
Okay.
Our classified folks were recognized in a previous budget when we did the actual, the
Salaries.
salary study. Mhm. Okay. So, so if we go with the 500 plus the one, now the 150 would be a one-time, right? Okay, so that would not be recurring.
And that would be in addition to the 350 from the state.
From the state.
So when is that supposed to be paid? Is that?
October.
October, okay.
And October is when we would contribute this as well?
Yes,
Okay.
if that's
So
the
the money
pleasure.
would be available in a recurring manner without a problem if we just went with $500?
Well, if we were guaranteed the revenue that we have now, and if we were in year 2 of a funding agreement with the county, maybe, but we're in year 4, and so we really don't know what's going to happen with the county agreement. I mean, the hope is that it's going to continue, but their revenues are down, so, not in the ad valorem side, but in the sales tax side. So how that will impact us in our negotiations with the county will be coming up shortly.
But as you say, with the ad valorem, we're operating under the same figures that we would normally be. Is that correct?
If they renew the agreement as we've had before, then we should expect to receive similar dollars.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just nervous because they're down. The county's hurting, and I don't necessarily believe that they will renew us or what their intake's going to look like. I'm just worried about reoccurring. I have no problem doing the 500 across the board to everybody. It's in the budget. We could do it this year and not worry about it. I'm fine with that, and I'd like to include our classified people because they're the people who are in the schools every day. They're the ones cleaning the doorknobs and the things that are coughed on and working hard here. I just think they should all be included, and we can revisit this once we get an agreement with the county together and know where we are ongoing. I just don't want to shortfall us.
Yeah, I would be very careful until you know what the county's revenue is and that you have a new agreement in place, extending it longer than the agreement that's currently in place. Those things could change. I mean, revenues are down, so I'd be very careful
Well,
extending it longer than that.
I agree, but basically, we never know from year to year what might change anyway. So, is there any further discussion? Okay.
When you're talking about that $150 bonus, that would be to, who would that be? Would that,
Well, we've got,
Certified.
350 is the,
just talking certified, the conversation was 500 recurring and 150 bonus at a cost of 863,000. If we included all employees for 500 non-recurring, that would be 909,000.
okay. And if you just did the $150 bonus extra on top, then that was 172?
172,
Okay. And that would go to everybody?
just certified.
Just certified, okay.
Any further comments or discussion? Okay. Do I have a motion? Okay, I'll make the motion. I'd like to make a motion that we go forward with the $500 supplement for certified teachers and the $150 bonus for certified staff. Do I have a second?
How much is that?
863,000.
For 1 year, the recurring is 691,000.
Well, we've had this discussion before, and if we don't take advantage of, even in these tough times, taking care of our supplement issue with our competing counties, I'm afraid we're going to make a mistake.
I remember the initial plan was to increase it by $1,000. So we had a good plan.
And I'm not in favor of bonuses, period. Right now, I just think it's spitting in the wind. So I'll second the motion for $500 supplement increase.
Okay, so I would need to go back and amend my original motion to include only the $500 supplement without the 150 bonus.
I'll second that.
So Mr. Lemon has seconded that. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, 4 in agreement and 1 opposed. Motion carries. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ms.
May we, Mr. Attorney, can we approve the resolution with the amendment of $691,000 to local funds to pay for that recurring item?
Okay. Can we
Can we-
approve the budget resolution with an amendment for the recurring expenses?
Bless his heart.
Can we approve this budget resolution? Okay. With an amendment for this supplement of $691,000?
Okay.
Would that be it?
Yes.
Okay, okay, all right, thank you.
So the effective date,
Well, it would be October, when we normally pay supplements. Right? Because we're changing the supplement schedule.
It's for this whole year. I just want to make sure that that increase was for the entire 2021 school year. That wasn't some prorated amount from October forward.
I see, to all employees that had a contract effective, that's a good point, for new staff. It'd be difficult to prorate that. So all staff that are on payroll in October, is that,
We'd have to make a motion for that, right?
that's
It's our normal process.
our normal process.
It's just that it's a higher amount. I just wanted to make sure that it was effective for the whole year.
Okay.
It's our normal process. I'm not trying to confuse you.
Yeah, I guess since section 2 reads that the following revenues are estimated to be available for the fiscal year July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, that's still,
Yeah, I think what he's
But he's
talking more about is, would all staff members, certified staff qualify if they started August 15th or September 2nd?
I see.
Because we pay it in October, and I do believe the intent is for all staff that's on payroll in October in that category to receive the full amount, right? Okay.
We're missing out on the classified. I just, those are the people who are not really making the most money in our system and are doing a lot of the work and heavy lifting right now, and I'm just concerned about that.
Well, as you remember, Mr. Benton, after the salary study, the classified, there was a phase 1 and a phase 2, and they received whatever amount they were, that they qualified for at that time, and the certified folks didn't receive anything at the time. So I just feel like we need to go forward and work with the certified at this time, and, the new year's coming up, next budget year, there may be a possibility for more for the classified. But I believe that we have treated everyone fairly at this point in time.
okay, so do we vote? I guess we had the motion and the second. We voted on it.
We already
So everything's
voted.
good. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, the only question was of Mr. Green, whether or not we could add the amendment. Okay. Okay. Now we have, under action items also, we have the South Brunswick High School parking lot contract. Do I have a motion on that?
Ms. Milligan, this is what we talked about in the Operations Committee last
Right.
week. We didn't have the bids in. This is nothing funny here. Low bidder, we checked him out, has all the required insurance and everything else. $407,649.23. And we want to get him started as soon as possible, so there's a minimal disruption to the school. And that's it for this one.
Okay, Mr. Miller's made the motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Ms. Cook has made the second. All in favor? Aye. And
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we look at the Local Parent Advisory Committee. Council, excuse me. I do have a question about this, and I don't know if anyone else shares or has thought about it, but when we look at the guidelines for advisory committees, parent advisory, that indicates that these people should be parents. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And they should have children at the school at which they're approved for?
That is correct.
Okay. I've noticed a couple that's not the case, and I was just wondering, maybe they didn't get moved from one school to the other or whatever, but I have a couple of concerns about that before we approve this.
What we can do then, Madam Chair, is that we can go back to those respective schools and have them reevaluate the members that they've placed on the PAC and bring back to you a revised list of all the PAC members, if that sets well with the board.
I would feel better. I would feel like we were following protocol more closely if we were able to do that.
That would be fine.
Okay. Any other comments? Thank you. Okay, we've already taken care of number 3. So, announcements or discussion by the superintendent?
Chair and board, first let me start by offering public congratulations to Amanda Richardson for being named the 2021 Clyde Davis Region 5 LEA Testing Coordinator of the Year. You probably saw that announcement out on Facebook. But this is yet another bright spot for our district as she joins Acacia Dixon and our own Darrell Cheers in receiving state or regional awards for distinguished service. So I just wanted to recognize her publicly for that achievement. She works very hard, and she does a good job for the system. I also wanted to take this time to give you a very brief update on where we are in terms of reopening our schools. Our operations department, along with our building administrators, have been working tirelessly to prepare the buildings for our AB Day reopening on September 21st. As you've probably seen in the numerous school videos that have been shared on social media, plans have been put together and most procedures have been worked out to ensure a safe Plan B opening, again on the 21st. In speaking with our County Health Director, David Stanley, this morning, I was glad to hear him say that our COVID numbers were headed in the right direction, and he actually stated that we are definitely in a better place than we were when we last spoke. However, he was realistic in the fact that as we begin to bring students back into the building, we have to exercise extreme caution with our social distancing, washing of hands, wearing of cloth face coverings, and all other safety measures that have been put in place in the schools as dictated by DPI and Department of Health and Human Services. His team and mine have been working together in handling different scenarios in the event of an infection or a cluster of infections if they were to take place. I am confident that we will be ready for students on September 21st. And with that, in our meeting with principals a few weeks ago, one of the things that I impressed upon them was developing plans for open house for when we come back on the September 21st date, specifically for kindergarten, 6th grade, and 9th graders, as these would be children who have never set foot in those respective buildings as first-time kindergartners, middle schoolers, and high schoolers. So again, with that, we are definitely encouraged by the fact that we'll be bringing our students back, and I think that our principals have worked very hard with our operations folks to make sure that we are doing this in a safe manner.
Jerry,
any questions?
Have we looked at bringing those first-year students back maybe a week early, doing that event before?
We have not. Right
School
now,
starts?
what I've talked with the principals about was right now at this point has been an open house, just to give them an introduction to the facilities.
That's prior to the AB Day starting? So
That is correct.
Okay.
Prior to.
Have we considered doing that for all grades so they can kind of learn the way of walking in and out of the building and all?
We have not at this point. The discussion has simply been for those grades K6 and 9.
It's just a large learning curve, and I'd hate for us to have a gaggle on the first day and have some problems. If we can bring them in by grade level a day before or something, or at a set time, or somehow figure that out where we could communicate that with parents and make that happen. I just want to make sure that when...
Talk to Ms. Rutledge about the bus schedule to do that,
when
right?
it happens, well, my concern is when it happens, they all congregate at the front of the building, don't know where they're supposed to be, how this works, and it's a big mess. And because the kids aren't going to know.
We will have staff in the buildings that will be there to assist the entire process. So it's not anyone just showing up and not knowing what to do. That from getting off the bus or getting out of the car, there will be staff available to work with our students to ensure that they are following the protocols that are put in place.
It's going to be our second first day of school,
That's correct.
remote and now actual.
The only other announcement I wanted to make was a change, as you can see, for the committee meetings this month. As printed, it says September 22nd, but we need to move that, if possible, to September 15th. We will have about a 5-week, I think it's a 5-week window until our next board meeting, so if we can move that date up to the 15th, you can put that on your calendars.
Any,
Times will be announced as to what time the committee meetings will take place.
any other announcements from Dr. Oates or any board member? Okay. At this time, I will entertain a motion for closed session.
So moved.
Okay. Ms. Cook and Mr. Lemon, all in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carried. Thank you.